Hey YouTube, so as some of you know, I'm quite an anime fan, but as someone who does historical European martial arts, I really wanted to find an anime set in either medieval or Renaissance Europe which showed some level of respect for our combat system and didn't perpetuate the myths about the katana. So I did a little search on Google. Sacred Blacksmith kept propping up, so I thought I'd give it a try. But oh my god, it is some of the worst fucking propaganda I've ever fucking seen. And I thought debunking some of the things presented in it would be a good way of expelling some of the myths surrounding the katana and European weapons. So let's get on with this shit. So at this point I really thought I was off to a winner. I really like the look of this little market town, and the sound quality's good, the music's pretty good, the animation style is really good. I really thought I was off to a winner at this point.
You can't be serious.
I'm sorry, sir, but our trade rate for Tamahagane was set back at the beginning of the year. Take it or leave it.
Tamahagane? Where have I heard this word before? And why didn't they translate it in the anime? Oh, I remember. It's Japanese steel used for making katanas and other things. And it's not particularly great. It's very poor quality. There's absolutely no reason they'd be selling it in any European market.
How dare you! You're nothing but a small-town trader. If the Empire ever got wind of what you're doing here, they would—
That's enough! Take your hands off him right now!
No way. You're a member of the Night Guards?
It's common knowledge that Houseman controls the Tamahagane market and can therefore set its own prices.
I quite like the pacing here. It's getting straight into some conflicts. I like to see that in animes, rather than spending way too long in the introduction. And this seems to be a pretty good way of introducing who this female knight is, what her values are, and the sort of shit she has to deal with from day to day. So yeah, I quite like that. I'm not going to go full anal complaining about her armour. It is an anime after all, and obviously I'm not expecting it to be historically accurate. Her chest's covered, which is one of the most important areas to cover. She doesn't have a helmet, but that's fine from a cinematography perspective. You have to be able to see the character's face after all, so yeah, that's absolutely fine. The only thing I really take any issue with here is her asymmetrical armour. Why would you have a shoulder exposed when you have a two-handed weapon? I can see why you might do it with a one-handed weapon and you've always got one arm out in front, but with a two-handed weapon this really doesn't make very much sense. At this point, I was pretty pleased actually. The guy has a big oversized two-handed weapon, but it's a fucking anime. There's going to be demons and magic and superhuman people, so I don't have any problem with this. This is the kind of shit I came here to see.
I don't know how much more of this I can take.
I gave them everything I had.
I will protect the people of Houseman!
Apart from this downward blow magically hitting her up in the air, I don't have too much of an issue with this really. The guy has clearly lost his mind and isn't going to be fighting with skill and focus. And the lady's also very, very new to being a knight, so she's not going to be fighting that skillfully either. And she probably hasn't killed anyone before, so I can understand why she isn't capitalising on the guy's mistakes and finishing him off.
They promised me salvation.
Swords do snap from time to time, and this did snap fairly realistically, and he did hit a sword with a ridiculously oversized weapon, so I don't have any issues at the moment. But it is when things start to get a little bit ridiculous.
What do I do now? He'll kill me.
Where is it?
God fucking damn it. So we've just established that this giant oversized weapon is really tough and durable, and in comes a katana to slice through it like a hot knife through butter. I quite like katanas, they're not my favourites, but for once I just wanted to see an anime with European style weapons and armour, which didn't go and show this fucking Japanese superiority bullshit.
I noticed your arm. You must be a veteran of the Valbenil War.
Amazing. He sliced right through it. I've never seen a sword like that.
So in this town there's a Tamahagane stall, yet a professional fighter has never seen a katana before. This makes absolutely no fucking sense, and from this point onwards, the episode just goes on a gigantic katana dick-sucking spree. But I'm a glutton for punishment, and I decided to watch the rest of the episode in the next one to see just how bad this got.
How did you...
Thanks for the diversion. The katana came out perfectly. Now leave this to me.
I guess this is goodbye. Thank you, Father. You okay, Miss Cecily? Yeah, I'll be fine.
Pay attention, Cecily. Now it's your turn to watch me. See the power of my katana.
I've never seen anything so beautiful. This katana looks like it's on fire.
Not too many blacksmiths can forge katana these days. Most don't have the patience. To do it right, you have to hammer and fold the steel repeatedly. That's what gives it its strength. But folding steel isn't easy. It takes a lot of hard work. That's why most blacksmiths have given up the practice. They don't see the point in spending days making one katana when in the same amount of time they can make hundreds of swords by mold. But their swords are inferior.
I really shouldn't have to respond to this bullshit, but way too many fucking weirdos and even casual anime fans take this shit seriously. And oh my god, there's so much wrong here, I actually had to stop and take some notes. But no, the katana wasn't folded to make it super strong. They folded the steel because they absolutely had to, and if they didn't, the sword would just fall apart. Tamahagane is a really low quality steel, and they folded it to even out the impurities. Europeans, we've been pattern welding and folding steel since 700 BC. And we stopped the practice because our steel got to a much higher quality and there was far fewer impurities in it, and folding the steel became completely unnecessary and became a complete waste of time. That's why people gave up the practice. It's got nothing to do with blacksmiths becoming impatient. People are going to use the best quality weapons they can afford, and blacksmiths are going to fucking accommodate for that. You're not going to use a really cheap sword when you have the option of buying something better. That's an instrument to protect your life. And lastly, since the Bronze Age, swords were never made by mold. We forged them just like the Japanese did, except for we didn't need to fold the steel, and we had a couple of other differences in how we did it. But no, we didn't forge steel swords from molds.
He knows he'll be fine if he dodges the demon's attacks. He's staring into the face of death, yet he has no fear. That's rule number 1. A person wielding a katana must have no fear.
Avoiding attacks outright is quite often the best tactic, but why the fuck would that apply to just katanas? And if it does, how the hell does that make any sense? You know, they're supposed to have these superior weapons which are virtually unbreakable, yet they're teaching people to avoid attacks outright, whereas the Europeans are teaching people to parry with their blades.
Let me put it to you this way, Cecily. To forge a katana, you have to go through many complicated steps I doubt you'd ever be able to fully understand.
Yet more Japanese propaganda. We couldn't possibly ever hope to understand the Japanese super spiritual enlightened ways. We're just a bunch of brain dead fucking hicks which can't follow a set of instructions more than 2 lines long.